I moved to Boise, Idaho, and it wasn't what I expected. In this video, we're gonna be going over my expectations of what it was like to live here, the surprises, the good, the bad, the ugly, and that way you can decide for yourself if these surprises and expectations don't quite match up with what you're looking for, or if you're just like, yep, that's it, I'm moving to Idaho right now. So the first one up is the politics here in Idaho. So I just kind of assumed that Idaho was a red state, didn't know a ton about the politics here. And what I found is that actually there's a bit of a mix. Boise itself is going to be on the more blue side of things, whereas the rest of the state, as you get more rural and just outside of Boise, still in the county that surrounds Boise, which is Ada County, there's a lot more red conservatives out there. In fact, in the last election cycle, what happened is with everyone moving from California, Washington, Oregon, the state actually got about 5 to 6% more conservative, more red that voted Republican in this last election cycle. I want to let you know that I'm a real estate agent. I cannot steer you one way or the other. I'm just letting you know about what public information is out there so you can make a decision for yourself as far as what everything makes sense moving here to Idaho. So that being said, a lot of people were worried about Californians moving to Idaho, Californians moving to Texas or Tennessee, and what that was going to do to the politics of their state. You know, a lot of people are moving to these states because of what's been happening in those states, California, Oregon, Washington, and those big cities, and they're tired of the politics there and the bad policies that have been put in place that are causing a lot of problems for their state. It's a big reason why I moved. So I didn't want to move to a state that was just gonna become California again. So the good news is that it seems like people, at least in Idaho, are moving here and they're voting consistently with the state as far as to implement the policies that they moved here for. So this whole idea of don't California my Idaho, is that happening? It sure does not seem to be the case because it became more red than more blue in this last election cycle. Now, from what I understand, that can't be said about places like Texas and Tennessee where they did shift a little bit more blue in this last election cycle. So the city of Boise itself, like I mentioned, is going to be more blue, more liberal. As you get outside of that into Meridian, Eagle, Nampa, Caldwell, etc., then it's going to become more conservative, more red in general as far as the folks that live there. Now, real quick, as I mentioned, I am a real estate agent helping people relocate here. So if that's you and you are looking to make the move here to beautiful Idaho, just like I did from moving from California, all you got to do is reach out via phone, text, or email. My contact information is right down below. And I absolutely love helping people relocate here to beautiful Treasure Valley and make the smooth move here. So whether you're 9 days or 90 days out, even 2 years out, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. We'll figure out what your lifestyle is, what your budget is, where you'd like to end up living here in Boise, and we'll figure out the best spot for you. Come on out, take a tour, and really see the homes, see the river, see the foothills, get out in the mountains, and experience Idaho. I'd absolutely love the opportunity to help you make that move here to Idaho. What's really cool is how family-friendly Idaho is and how many free family-related events that there are. I mentioned Indian Creek Plaza. Indian Creek is a huge plaza with about 260 live events every single year. There are free live concerts. There's a huge splash pad there. You can go get a canned cocktail, beer, wine, get food from one of the surrounding restaurants and bring it into the courtyard, and your kids can play in the splash pad or dance in front of the live music while the live band's playing. There's a farmer's market there. There's just all kinds of activities that happen all throughout the year there, but also all throughout the valley. In Kuna, in the fall, you've got Lowe's Family Farmstead. Really great kind of fall festival type thing. You've got pig races, a pumpkin patch where you can go pick your own pumpkin, giant slide, a corn maze. They change the corn maze every single year, the design. This last year, it was actually Bigfoot that they had made the corn maze look like Bigfoot from the air, which is pretty cool. And there's just so many cool family events that are free or very, very cheap all throughout the Treasure Valley. So we absolutely love that. Like I said, the splash pads I mentioned earlier, those are typically always free as well. So if you are moving here with a family, this is a great place to be. I'm actually gonna let my daughter tell you about moving here to Idaho and see what her thoughts are and what she loves about living here in Idaho. Do you like living in Idaho?
Yeah.
Why do you like living in Idaho?
Because I like living in Idaho because there's fountains and water parks and splash pads and the restaurants here.
And the restaurants. Do you like the river too?
Yeah.
That's so awesome. So if you're watching this channel, then you don't have time to go and figure out the best neighborhoods to live in and what the costs are of moving here, what the homes look like, what kind of home can you buy for your budget, etc. But fortunately, I have the opportunity to do that full time for you and put those videos here on this YouTube channel. So if that's you and you're thinking about making the move here, if you can just hit subscribe, because then every single week you're gonna get notified of the new videos that I put out all about living here in the Boise and Treasure Valley area. And like I said, I dig in and figure out all the things that you're looking to know and put those things on the channel. So if there's something specifically that you're looking to know about, drop that comment down below and that'll help me produce more content for you as far as what you're interested in. So hit subscribe so you get notified when I come out with those videos. Now, the next thing up that really surprised me is the weather. So I actually visited here in December originally so that I could get a feel for Boise in the wintertime, because I figured if I liked it in the wintertime, then I would probably love Idaho. And sure enough, that is true. However, I think the winter that I visited was a little bit more mild, or the winters we're experiencing right now are a little bit more cold, but I've just been a little bit surprised at how cold it is and how sustained that cold can be. So being from San Diego, I'm used to going up to the mountains or even in the desert where it can get really cold, but you're only there for a couple, 3 days, and then you get back down into San Diego and it's nice and warm again. So actually living in sustained cold where it's below freezing for a sustained period of time is a bit surprising and a bit shocking. So it'll snow maybe a couple inches, and then the snow, if it doesn't warm up, will stick around for quite a while, and it just gets brutally cold. People were telling me that, oh, it's not normally this cold, but then you talk to other people and they say, yeah, it is this cold. So that was a surprise. Also, the summertime can be very warm. In fact, this past summer, there was about 6 or 7 weeks where it was over 100 degrees. So that was quite brutal. However, you know, we have great air conditioning. Energy bills are very cheap, which I'll touch on in a second, which was a great surprise. So if you are inside, plenty of air conditioning, you're gonna be fine. But what we really love to do to beat the heat, were a couple things. One is to go to the river, and the river is fed by the snow melt from the local mountains here. As you get into the river, the temperature feels like it drops a good 10 to 15 degrees. You take your chairs, put them in the river, put your feet in the river, and really cool down. The Boise River flows right through here, so it's very easy access depending on where you are here in the Treasure Valley. So if you're in Boise, Eagle, Meridian, Star, Middleton, you have very, very close access to the river, so potentially just a few minutes. If you're in Nampa or Caldwell or Kuna, you're gonna have to drive a bit further, probably 25, 30 minutes to get to the river, but we absolutely love going to the river in order to beat the heat. Also, there are so many splash pads around here, and that was a huge surprise for us too, was all the splash pads that are throughout the Treasure Valley. Coming from California, where we're constantly in drought, you just don't have splash pads because that's just such a waste of water for a place that doesn't have water. But Idaho has so much water, so the kids really, really love the splash pads, and you can find those all throughout the Treasure Valley and pretty much always for free. Now, the third thing related to weather is how dry it is. So it's dry throughout the year, whether it's summer or fall or winter. So your skin's gonna get dry, your lips are gonna crack. My lips are probably cracked in this video. I'll probably get comments about it. I've gotten comments about it in other videos, even from friends, about how dry my lips are. I'm sorry. It's just how it is. If you don't like that, then just be prepared that it is very dry here. The benefit of that is that it is a dry heat and it is a dry cold. So even though it is cold, it's not that damp cold that actually you can experience up in North Idaho or on the coast in Washington and Oregon, or even in San Diego. Here, at least when it's 25 degrees, it's definitely cold, but at least it's not kind of like seeping into your bones. So that dryness certainly does help. The next thing that I was surprised about is how clean the Boise city is itself, as well as all the communities around Boise, like Meridian, Eagle, Nampa, etc. Coming from California, San Diego overall was a fairly clean city, but we certainly had a big issue with homelessness, that when they were just taking over the city streets, and just people that litter and throw trash all over the place and really do not care at all. Here, people care a lot more, and we really try to get that picked up as quick as possible. So these cities and streets are super, super clean, which is super, super cool. And even in the downtown area, you always feel extremely safe. And really, anywhere we go throughout the Treasure Valley, we always feel safe, whether it's in Boise itself, Meridian, Eagle, even in Caldwell and Nampa, there's videos about, or articles out there that say that Caldwell is not a very safe town. I beg to differ. I've done videos specifically around this, and you can see here at Indian Creek Plaza, which we love going to, it is extremely safe. That's something that was, I guess, a bit of a surprise in terms of hearing that there might be some safety issues, but certainly we have not come across that at all, and it's awesome how clean it is here. Another surprise was kind of the lack of planning around the cities. Now, a lot of this this land here was farmland, and so it was laid out on a 1-mile grid. So basically every mile as you come up to a road, you're gonna hit a stop sign most likely. What you're gonna find is a kind of a hodgepodge of subdivisions, commercial, light industrial, and then farmland thrown in the mix too. Now, especially as you get more rural in terms of Nampa, Caldwell, Kuna, you're gonna have even more of this hodgepodge of really nice subdivisions than with a farmland right next to it. I wanted to be a bit more in the country, but I still live in a really, really nice subdivision, a really nice home. But I basically drive out my subdivision and boom, there's farmland right there. There's geese eating in the fields. There's horses, there are goats. It's super cool. I love it. So it's just something that takes some getting used to. A really great surprise was energy costs. So as I mentioned, it gets hot, it gets cold, so you are gonna have to consume more energy to live here. But fortunately, energy is pretty low. So depending on the size of your home and your family, etc., right now I'm basically spending around $150 a month on gas and electricity, which is significantly cheaper than what I was spending in California. In fact, I was just talking with a friend who still lives there. He was trying to figure out, hey, what are the energy costs? Because he's thinking about moving up here. And he's paying about $400 a month even without running his air conditioning in California. So significantly less, and I'm running air conditioning or heat basically 24/7. Now, what was another surprise is that gas actually is not that much cheaper, fuel for your car gas. It's only about 80 cents to $1 cheaper than California. Also, the restaurant scene here, I would say, is just okay. There are certainly some good restaurants in downtown and kind of scattered throughout in Meridian, Eagle, and kind of here and there in Nampa and Caldwell. But overall, it's just not like what it is in California. So if you're a major foodie, this may not be the place for you if that's your thing. So it is improving. It's getting better and better. Better restaurants are coming in to Eagle and Meridian and in Nampa and Caldwell. So it is improving, but it's just definitely not quite the California scene. Now, if you are kind of wanting a taste of California, if you're moving from Southern California, Meridian does feel a lot like potentially Southern California, especially with the shopping mall, the Village that's located there. So it does feel like a mall that you could find in Southern California. I actually really like going to the Village. There's some higher end shops there and some really nice restaurants as well. I love taking my daughter there. There's a cool water fountains with lights. During the winter time, there's an ice rink there. Another thing that surprised me is that I just kept hearing that you're going to be seeing all kinds of firearms here in Idaho. You're gonna see people open carrying sidearms, but frankly, it's just not really true, at least not in the Treasure Valley, Boise area. You probably are gonna find people that are concealed carrying. Of course, you're not gonna know that. There's quite a few people at my church that conceal carry, and you would never know. But I came here thinking, man, I'm gonna see people open carrying all the time, and it's just not the case. In fact, you can go months, like I said, without seeing anyone open carrying at all. It is surprising when you see it, but it's just not nearly as common as you might think, especially with a lot of people saying that there's all kinds of people open carrying out here. Well, those were all the surprises about moving here to Boise, and like I said, it wasn't exactly what I expected, but if that's you and you're looking to make the move here to Boise, then I would absolutely love the opportunity to sit down with you and figure out a game plan for getting you out here. Like I said, I moved myself from California with my family, and I absolutely love helping people make the move here to Idaho. So all you gotta do is reach out via phone, text, or email. Contact information is listed right down below, and we'll get on a Zoom call. We'll figure out a game plan for getting you out here, figure out your lifestyle, your budget, and even I'd invite you to come on out, do a reconnaissance trip, and go explore all these areas. You can get so much through my videos, but sometimes it really helps to actually come out here beforehand and figure things out. So I'd love to meet with you. Let's figure that out, and go ahead and hit subscribe, hit like, and I'll see you on the next video.